Hi guys, welcome to Build Your Jungle. My name is Sophie and today I'm going to be talking about my philodendron collection. By the way, all of these plants live in a greenhouse with grow lights and 80% humidity usually, but it does sometimes go between 70 and 80, but I like to keep it around 80, but no higher really. So the first plant I'm going to be talking about today is my Philodendron Sadori AF variety, and I just love this so much. It's one of my plants that I've got in Leca. I am like loving Leca at the moment as well. I only got into it this year, and this is its newest leaf, and I'm just obsessed with this. It's really like it's so similar to the Mammy, but they get this like little pink dot at the top of the, I don't know what you call that, like the internodal area. No, there's not a node there though. The leaf, the top of the leaf connection to the stem, they get a little pink dot, whereas true form Sadori won't. And also I feel like I might be wrong, but these guys can sometimes crawl. No, I'm sure that's right, that they can sometimes either crawl or climb, but mine seems to have decided that it's going to climb, which I am all for because I love climbing plants. And this is its newest leaf. It's still hardening off, and basically this is just one of my absolute favourite philodendrons at the moment, and it's very silvery. It's got this really nice silvery variegation on it, and it's just so, I don't know, I just find it so much more visually appealing than a Mammy, but also because this is in basically perfect condition, so that's probably why I'm so in love with it as well. It just loves life. I've had no problems with this. It's grown great, and I've upsized the pot once already since I got it, because I have found that Leca, I was going to say that plants grow crazy in Leca, and that is so true because I only repotted this last week and the roots have already grown down into the reservoir, so I'm going to have to literally go and repot this. Not repot it, resituate the roots into the pot, because I find as well when you use Leca, if you haven't used it before, the roots just really want to grow straight down to the moisture, so you get a lot more use out of these pots by resituating the roots. Next, I'm going to talk about my Philodendron Florida Green, which is also in Leca at the moment. I received my Philodendron Sadori in Leca and then changed it to my own Leca, but these were water propagations, 2 individual propagations, and I'll show you that they've both got new growth points now. They're doing really well. One is rooting so much faster than the other, which is weird because they're from the same plant. But these are actually reverted Philodendron Florida Beauty, but they're basically Philodendron Florida Green now. But I am obsessed with these leaf shapes. Oh no! Every time. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix this now. I was gonna say this is the plant that I keep knocking out of Leca all the time. By the way, I do have multiples of a lot of these plants, but I'm trying to stick to a rule of mostly just showing one type of each of the philodendrons. This is my Philodendron Mammy. I'm going to show you a picture of when I first got it. One of the leaves, it had not travelled very well. It was in the post for like a few days. The weather was rubbish, and one of the leaves had completely drooped. But when I put it into my greenhouse, it rehabbed so well, which I'll show you a second picture that was taken through the plastic of my greenhouse. But you can still see like how much that leaf had revived itself. But unfortunately, chill damage had already got to it, and even though like the turgidity of the turgor of the leaf, the turgor of the leaf had returned to normal, it started to get some really bad like tissue dying off, cold damage, and there was a yellow halo, and I was scared of bacteria, so I was like, right, that's coming off. This damage was existing sun damage, but my attitude towards plants like this, when I get a cutting and it's not that great, my plan for this long term is basically I'm rooting it and it's already got a new growth point, which is great, and when it gets 2 new healthy leaves and they've hardened off, I will get rid of this old leaf, and that's basically how I like to promote like healthy growth in my plants. I feel like that's a technique that just works so well. This actually at first it wasn't going too much for me, but then the last 2 weeks it's just shot out all these roots. Also, I have soil in my fingernails because I have just been handling plants. Next I have a cute little baby Prince of Orange. He's so cute. I love this so much. The leaves basically come out this orange colour and then turn green. And I've seen pictures of these when they're big and I'm so excited because they look amazing. And maybe this guy will get there someday. He's got a new leaf here and there, so it's looking good. He's doing well. Next I have one of my absolute favourites. I feel like I've already said that, but I love this so much. It's Philodendron Variegated. And this part of the plant is definitely reverted. It is so cute. It's an Oreo variegation, which is like the yellow variegation, and it is beautiful. There is a lot of like variegation on the stems on this side, which was why I was so surprised that this leaf doesn't have any. This was its newest leaf and it doesn't have any variegation, and it's just so weird to me because the stem is so striped. But there's another little leaf spike coming off the really striped bit, so I'm pretty sure at least that one and this one are going to be variegated. These grow so fast, that's another reason. Sorry, this chair's terrible. These grow so fast and I love the leaf shape again. I just find this so easy care. It's just, the only problem I've ever had with this plant is this leaf has a tiny little bit of damage from where it got stuck when it was unfurling. But everything else with this plant, it's never been bothered about anything. Like, to be fair though, it lives in like a really good environment because it's in 80% humidity. And it was just a cutting, and now this is a fully like hugely rooted plant, so that is very exciting. Next I have some Philodendron Varicosum, and I've actually ended up with like so much Varicosum at the moment. It is one of my, not even just favourite philodendrons, it is one of my top 3 plants. But I've never been like lucky enough to have a really big beautiful Varicosum. So basically I've got some wet sticks as well propagating from this, and I'm gonna break my no duplicates rule for this because I have the cutest little baby 2-leaf wet stick propagation of a Varicosum coming through, and I'm so proud of it. It was from like a really dodgy cutting I had, and it just came like completely like dead leaf, and I was like, we're gonna wet stick this, and it's been many months and now cute little baby plants coming in. I'm excited. But then I've also got a whole bunch of different Varicosum cuttings from different people, and I like to group them in their own thing just because you know, that just makes sense. I'm not just going to stick them all in the same pot. So I want to know, and also they look slightly different. I feel like these might be a different variety to this other one that I have, but it's really hard to tell because the other one is like really young at the moment. So these have barely started rooting. My others are much further along. But gosh, these were just such a, I got these for £5 each off Facebook Marketplace, and they are just so the most beautiful Varicosum leaves that I've managed to buy anyway. So basically my plan for this is root both of these, grow them, mature them, probably do a top chop and start all over again. And also these, oh, you have to have the high humidity for these. In England, in my experience, when we always all have to have the heating on, you need a greenhouse really. But oh my gosh, the fuzzy petals on these as well, they are so cute. But they just have these really distinctively velvety, beautiful leaves, and when they get more mature, the edges of the leaves are all frilled as well, and it is just stunning, and I want to see that. I really want to see that from this. Yeah, don't let it have any direct sun because it will cry and burn. So I don't know if I've moved or whatever because my camera, I forgot it does that. It's been so many years since I've used this. It likes to stop recording after you've been talking for 20 minutes, so that's just great. So this one is the one that's rooting really well, and you would think that they would be the same, and also this covers over this like a lot, like from the side, like when the, so I would have just thought that this one, but I guess there's different parts. It'll be interesting to see if this one does eventually root, or maybe I just need to cut off some of the stem and focus on this top one with the fresher aerial root. But then what I think is funny is, wait, it's down here. So this is what this looks like as a baby. Very different, but it's so cute. I feel like when they're this small, I feel like Mycans just looks exact. I don't actually have a Mycans. I feel like Mycans looks exactly the same as baby Philodendron melanochrysum. Also, when I first got into plants, I used to call it melanochrysum like all the time, and then I suddenly saw it one day and it was written like some, and I was like, oh. I actually prefer the baby version. I don't know if it's just because wet stick propagations are so satisfying to grow, because the whole plant is always perfect because it's acclimatized to your conditions and the leaves come out really well. With this plant, it's funny because I've seen people like thinking that this was the plant having a problem, but melanochrysum leaves come out orange and then they turn this more greeny. It's still like an orangey green, but then as they get more mature, like this guy, it's a lot darker. And this also has a cute little new leaf point coming through. I had this in my moss prop box, and I've switched it out into its own little pot now because the leaves had just got too big to fit in there with everything. That's the other thing is, because obviously all of these plants have similar watering things, the things that are propagations and leca, they're just constantly in like hydroponics and passive hydro, and everything with the soil, like I feel like it more depends, soil and moss moistening in a greenhouse, it depends upon your humidity. Like for example, like I water my plants 100% so much less in the greenhouse than plants that are out of the greenhouse, because obviously water's evaporating more slowly and stuff with the higher humidity. So really philodendrons in a high humidity greenhouse are so easygoing, like highly recommend, and they're such a great species. I love them, there's so much variety. So I have I've got 4 pink princesses at the moment. This is one of the bigger ones, and also this is one where I left in, I got a massive philodendron pink princess. It was so big that I split it into 2 of this pot size and 2 pups, and I'm very excited as well because one of the pups is so highly variegated that I'm thinking if that gets big it's going to be a really beautiful PPP. It had like the tiniest little pup that was so small. I've got that in a separate moss prop box as well because I'm trying to see if I can get something so small to go into a big PPP. These leaves are still not hardened off, and this was one of the plants that I got a few weeks ago as well, so it's still acclimatizing. It's got some nice pink over here as well. I think my other one might be slightly more variegated, but I am still there's also there's new leaves coming out on both of the big ones. I'm really hoping that doesn't get stuck though, because it's looking a little bit tight in there. I think I'll be selling one of them very soon. I might sell this one because of it having the little cute extra thing at the pot. This is I always forget this one. It's the one I know. I think I've got so much fertilizer water dripping on me right now. I think it's called a Parasio Verde. And I couldn't resist this because it was just, look how big this is compared to my face. Like, this is such a cool, I've done it again. Honestly, I just forget things don't have lids sometimes. But yeah, this is a really beautiful plant. So even though the stem is growing in a strange direction, I think once I'm able to like situate it in a more permanent vessel, when it's done rooting more, that hopefully we can get. So I also think it does have a new growth point, but it's awkward because I've got to put it this way around. And the growth point's currently underwater, so in my experience it's going to develop those little white stem cell things and then convert into a root and not a leaf. Hopefully I can sort this out when I can finally move this probably into... I will see how the roots develop first, but I mean I'm always tempted with philodendrons to put them in leca. This I got I got it off someone on Instagram. I can't remember, someone on Instagram that sells plants a lot. And it had like some damage, like it just had these few aerial roots, these new little white offshoots coming off the roots. Those are new ones. And it had broken, it had like snapped in shipping, but I know that they can still grow offshoots from the place where it's not, so I thought I'm going to leave it on because I'm pretty certain it's still like 50% attached. This is a big boy. This is a Philodendron dragon scale. I love the texture of these leaves. They get kind of these cool fenestrations. Like this, to be fair, like, because obviously I've repotted this and it has roots for days. Like, this is a mature plant. And it would be interesting to see if the leaves get even bigger than this. And it's already very happy since I brought it back. It's got 2 new growth points. And I also, because this is a crawling plant, I don't have any long pots at the moment as well. And I saw an opportunity to take a propagation. So I just propagated one other leaf that was coming out of the pot this way. Because this is a bigger pot than the pot it was originally in, so before it was like sticking right out weirdly in this pot. And that's propagating in the greenhouse, and that's got a new growth point but no roots, so it's like done it backwards, so we'll see if that actually gets any roots. But this guy, again, like, no complaints. He was like this and this when I brought him home, but I'm thinking just a few more weeks in the really good humidity and he'll be fully happy. But it's definitely like somewhat happy because of all of these new growth points. This and the Philodendron Pink Princess are the only plants in this video that do not live in that greenhouse. They live in a different greenhouse which has between 65 and 70%, so it's my lower humidity, larger greenhouse. It's actually really funny because I keep thinking I'm on the last plant and then I'm like realising I've got more like around me. This is my Philodendron Birkin. It's one of my Philodendron Birkins. It's the original gangster. What is this in a pot from? From a yucca from IKEA. It is very like struggling right now with the stability of the stem, so I've got this little stick in here to try and stabilise it a bit. It's a beautiful plant. It's one of Hannah's favourites, who is one of the other people that works for Build Your Jungle. And they just get this beautiful, they put out usually, like I was going to say they put out solid green leaves that develop the white stripe variegation as they mature, but I have seen people recently posting pictures of them putting out full white leaves to start with, so I feel like that's not entirely true in every case. I just propagated by separation a load of little babies off this, and I feel like when I replanted it, it's kind of left, because it's got so much of its own roots left, but the place between the base of the stem and in between all the rest of that root material, it's really like thin, and I honestly think that I could do with giving this thing a bigger pot now, and just because it's just, I know that this looks like a small like plant, but honestly this pot is really full of roots. This is always a bit dusty right now. This has always just lived about in my room and it's always been completely happy and fine. So that's another little easy guy. This is one of my most long-term rehab projects. This is a Philodendron xanadu, I think it's also called Thematophyllum. If anyone has one of these and you've ever made a cutting, do you think it smells like overpowering celery? Because I honestly think that is what the sap of this, like, I just can't stand it. Every time I've had to cut something off, I just like think, oh god, it's coming, the celery's coming. It came to me with rust disease, and I've been treating it with fungicide and gradually cutting off all the unhealthy growth as it pushes out new leaves. It's pushed out these 2 new leaves over the last 2 months. It's a lot slower growing than my other philodendrons. This does not live in a greenhouse, obviously it's in isolation. I don't even like having it near my other plants. The last 3 leaves that are affected by rust are this one, and this one. So those are I'll be removing this one today, and I'll be gradually removing the rest. It's got these weird phototropisms from where it's obviously like grown towards these lights that were too bright as well in the place where this was grown, because it obviously also has chlorosis. It's starting to darken up more since I got it. Hey guys, so it's the next day and I'm actually just realising that my camera cut off me talking about these 4 little guys as well. I totally forgot that when it does that, it cuts off like the last 10 minutes of you talking. So I thought I'd just show you guys it like this. And I've changed my camera settings, so that won't be happening again. This is a cute little philodendron atom. And a lot of people say these look like a cabbage, which I find really funny. This one's doing super well. It just got this leaf, and it's got a bunch of new little baby leaves at the bottom as well. Yeah, not much to say about this one. It's just super hardy, hasn't been bothered by anything, never went into transplant shock or anything. It's just really chill. This is my Philodendron Florida Ghost. It was a plant that I received in Leca. It was actually the first plant I ever received in Leca. And as you can see, it's got a nice new leaf coming through there. This plant actually put me off Leca though, because the roots were kind of rotting when I got it. And why that was, I think, was because I took like a week to go pick it up. And the water had not been changed, but I've since transplanted it into soil because at the time I didn't really know that much about Leca. And it's doing a lot better now, I think. Still got some way to go, but obviously it's doing all right, or it wouldn't have the new leaf starting to unfurl. So exciting. And with these, they need to be kept in quite high light. The leaves come out white and then they turn this darker green colour, which you can see this one is midway in the process of that. But gosh, I love this plant. This is the most expensive plant that I've ever bought, but it is really stunning. This tiny little thing is a Philodendron fuzzy petiole. I've seen a lot of people be interested in these at the moment because they seem to be like the cheap alternative to the all the fancy fuzzy petiole plants like Varicosum and stuff. And I got 2 of these. They're both growing great. This is actually the smaller one. Check out that cute little new leaf coming through. This is my newest philodendron. It's a little brantium, and actually if I just turn it around, it's got 2 cute little leaves. I love brantium so much. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my philodendron collection. Let me know what other kind of videos you'd like to see from us, and hopefully Hannah and Harriet might be making an appearance too soon. Feel free to subscribe to be notified when we release more planty content, and I see you guys next time. Bye! So these have the no, you don't need watering yet, do you? The same way. Maybe this is rooting as... No. Oh, I got like a water on me again.